horror fan to HHN 365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Mike, and as always, I'm here with my co-hosts, Duff and Jonathan. No Jess today. How's it going, gentlemen?
It's just a little sad. We just can't get everyone together
Yeah,
recently. It's just
it's.
not happening. Episodes, lives.
I mean, that's what happens sometimes. That's what we have for. We can rotate in and out, or we can all be here if it works out. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you remember the last time it was just the three of us? That went somewhere.
the,
Oh
the D's
God.
nuts jokes.
That was the light stuff. I mean,
Yeah. Well, as always, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at HHN365 and TikTok at HHN365pod. We have a Discord. The link is in the descriptions. Join us with all the great discussions and rumors and everything that's going on in the Discords. We do events monthly. We have a merch shop, HHN365.com. Always keep an eye out there. We have some great stuff and some great stuff coming down the pike. And we can leave us a voicemail at 407-906-4134. On today's show, we have basically just a lot of news and rumors. We took a little bit of a break, and we have a lot of catching up to do, right, guys?
yeah, basically.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff from so many different of the segments we do. You know, we have John Murdy news, we have HHN construction news, we have other haunt news from not just HHN but other haunts as well.
Yeah.
So we have a whole episode of news and rumors today.
But before we get into that, a few things. One, thanks for the awesome, what I assume was an awesome Discord event. You guys can thank them.
Oh yeah, it was
'cause
great.
I wasn't
It
there.
was yeah. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you guys didn't attend that one, basically what we did is we watched like old HHN walkthroughs of just past houses, and we used the Discord feature where we could basically put it on the screen and everyone can watch it and comment along and talk about what they thought about the house, and it was just a great time. A really fun idea. It ended up working out really well, and everyone seemed to have a great time.
Yeah. It
And
was
then
really great.
also, for our 3-6 Live, unfortunately, we fully missed last month. And we tried to push it back a few times to make it work. But again, like we mentioned earlier, getting us together over the past month or so has been pretty difficult. But we have set a date that we should all be ready to go for in June. And that's going to be June 28th, which is a Wednesday. It's going to be at 5 p.m. So hoping at least three of us can be there. We'll see. We'll see how
Yeah.
that goes.
Sorry about that for the last time, listeners. If you were looking forward to it, it just didn't work out. We
Yeah.
tried. It just didn't.
A lot has just been going on for each of us. So
Yeah.
trying to work around that is,
That's an understatement for some of us.
yeah,
We will,
it's only intensified.
yeah, we won't go into that.
All right, well, let's move on to, I guess, what our main segment is, news and rumors. So the Jonathan episode.
Yeah.
All
See,
right,
that's
I'm
when
leaving.
everyone
Bye.
turns it off. Like,
Yeah,
damn
I'm
it.
gone. See you later.
Okay, well, let's just hop right into it. We're first going to start off talking about Hollywood's event, going to HHN Hollywood Construction, because as we get closer and closer to the event, we can see a lot of stuff on the Hollywood side of facades and all of that stuff that they're building for their houses for this year. I want to give a big thanks to Kevin, our friend Kevin, who gives us pictures from HHN from Universal Hollywood, because we are not there. So thank you so much, and let's get started. The first thing is that one of the Curious George tents facade is really looking like something now. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And right now, it actually looks like it could be some sort of factory. So the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm thinking of factory is Chucky, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's based off, well, that's not a rumor. It's confirmed. But based off our one confirmed house plus rumors, that is definitely the first thing that kind of springs to mind there as a possibility.
Absolutely. So I think it would make sense. I think that's an interesting way to start off the house if that is indeed a factory. We still don't know for sure. Starting right off at, I'd assume what would just be the good guy doll factory, because that's
Mhm.
the only factor I can really think of from the show would be
Yeah.
a
That
cool
would
way to
also
start. Like,
be
imagine seeing all of the
mhm.
dolls like sort of being like in a row, like some of them getting like I don't know, built and stuff like that.
And
And
we
like
know
the
they have a
scene.
ton of them.
Oh, they have
Like
John
Murdy has
Murdy
already
let
told
people
that
know.
they have a
Yeah.
ton of them. So what a better place to shove all of them than the factory itself?
Yeah.
Yeah. I,
But hey, guys, we're not considering one thing here. Everyone's been clamoring for the return of Carnage Factory. When is it? I'm kidding. Let's not talk about that joke. Move on, please.
oh god, that made me sad. But moving on from this tent facade, uh, there is another Curious George tent facade, but that construction is on hold for the other tent. And this is from John Murdy on Twitter. He basically said they're not letting the construction go any further until this puppy gets announced.
Mm,
So,
IP.
big
IP.
IP, right? Gotta be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it the the big boy? Is that where they're gonna
It's one
stick
of the
it?
two big boys, right?
You know, I'm obviously leaning towards either Last of Us or Stranger Things
That's what I'm
potentially.
thinking.
You
Yeah.
know, those are two that could very obviously be picked out depending on what that facade is.
Oh yeah.
And those are two huge IPs that you don't really want leaking that easily. You know.
Right. So that makes sense on those. I mean, and both of those are probably coming sooner rather than later because you usually want to get those big
Um,
IPs out.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
and then Jonathan, where the like what everyone was calling like a toll booth or like security gate looking thing, was that in front of one of these?
I'm I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the one with the toe. Wasn't it? You know that
That
that object.
that was okay. See, because I
mm,
remember I immediately sprung to that being like a QZ for Last of Us
yes,
potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they're stopping where they are, and maybe
that would
that's what
make
it is
sense.
because that would be a big IP. I don't know. I'm just saying.
That would
Just
make a
saying.
lot of sense if there, like, if there's a little booth or whatever, or like, yeah, it's the QZ zone. Like, there's going to be like a quarantine booth outside of it.
I wonder if John Murdy is just like us now, and just like clamoring for the announcements, just like please announce
He's like,
something
please
so I
do it,
can continue construction.
Right?
please.
Yeah.
Like we have deadlines, please, for the love of God. Um, but yeah, so that's another interesting construction update. And however, this is the most interesting out of all the updates here. And I gotta thank Kevin because once this, word started going around saying, "Hey, the clowns tent, which is just the tent behind one of the sound stages in Hollywood, but the first house it ever had was Killer Clowns from Outer Space, so I just call it the clowns tent for now until it stops becoming that after this year. That the clowns tent kind of looks like a house from the past, and Kevin's like, I gotta go, and he went on the tram. Like the day after all this news started, whispers started happening. He went on the tram. He went and took some pictures, and holy hell, it. So yeah, holy hell is actually the exact right phrase because the facade looks almost exactly in terms of shape and the way it's designed, like Holidays in Hell.
Which Kevin also said like at least a month and a half ago at this point,
Yep.
Yeah,
and
he
it has
called that
only
one.
evolved into it
Yeah.
tenfold. Like it looks exactly like it now. I don't know if you were able to see it yet on our Twitter account. I think maybe even you put it on Instagram. He did an overlay of what the Holidays in Hell facade looked like and where this currently is, and it's a direct match.
Sounds like John Murdy is not waiting for that puppy to be announced. He's just going
He's
for
like,
it.
I hope you're already all disappointed before the announcement, so you're prepped for it.
putting the clock tower
They're just gonna spray paint holidays on it
in.
just to get the point across in them until they're done.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my god. Just so I mean, let's talk about it, right? I know we've sort of discussed this before when it was on the spec map and stuff, but now I mean, now it's really looking like it's coming to fruition. How do we feel about this? Like, how do we feel about Holidays in Hell? Most likely, 99% chance of coming back this year.
I feel how I feel about most returning Hollywood properties in the sense that I did not see it. So selfishly, I
Yeah.
don't mind as much. I saw it in a video. It's not the same though. But I feel bad for people who do have to go through the same exact house, what we assume to potentially be the same exact house again.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited because I think this is the closest, like, have the most potential of actually making it down there this year. And I think that this seems like, of all the return um, originals that we've had over the last little bit that could come back, this one seems fun, right? We could be worse. We could be getting Pandora's box for the like
Oh
third year.
God, no! Do not
Again.
give me memories of that house.
Also, I did see the Scare Zone in 2018 in Hollywood, which I really enjoyed, and it's the best Scare Zone. I'm saying in air quotations because it was almost like a glorified outdoor house more than a scare zone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it's the best scare zone I've seen Hollywood do. So I am excited to see the house in person.
Yeah, I am sort of like what Mike was saying. Out of all the things to get repeated, this isn't a bad one to repeat. I've seen videos. It looked fun. It didn't, look like the best thing in the world, but it looked like something I would enjoy in person. So I'm not mad that this particular uh maze, or what was once a maze, now a house, is getting repeated. I don't love repeats in general, and I don't love uh sort of I did actually really did like Clowns last year, but also I knew exactly what was going to be in it, so it definitely hurt my enjoyment of it, and it's going to be the same case here. I need to stop watching Hollywood POVs from now on. No matter
Yeah.
how obscure I think it is that it's never going to come back,
Hmm
it probably will. um
You just brought up the kicker, though, Jonathan. This is how they get out of repeats. They aren't doing repeats. Before they did a maze. Now they're doing a house.
That's
It's
true.
different.
Oh,
It's
that's
different,
true.
guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not a repeat. It's actually brand new. It's a house now.
This is the first ever Holidays in Hell house they've ever
Yep,
had.
that is a true statement.
Yeah. It's true.
But you also brought up stuff about the scare zone, and I know the original house had a scare zone that you like after the house was done, it
Hmm
dropped you right off in a scare zone, sort of like La Llorona did, sort of like Bride of
hmm
Frankenstein Lives did. This location, I don't think there's any way they can do that in the
Yeah, no,
clown's tent.
no.
So
Which good. That means it's going to leave hopefully a new and I don't want to say better, but maybe bigger, more important property to get the scare zone at the end.
mhm.
Does that mean they change it a little bit too, the house? Because if I recall, the end was like all like the winter, like the Christmas stuff. Like,
Hmm.
so do you add more of that into the house?
I think it's a
Um,
I think it's a bigger location from what people say. I think the Clown's Tent is bigger than the Parisian
So maybe
courtyard.
add a bit of what the scare zone was to the end
right.
of the house,
I
kind of.
think
Yeah.
you have to,
Yeah.
because I think the house was built for like almost the ending was sort of like a prelude to the scare zone
Right.
almost.
Right.
Like, it didn't like the I don't when I remember watching the videos, it didn't seem like the house ended, or like even the end was the finale. It felt like the scare zone was part of the finale of the house.
Yes. Yes.
So I think they have to, or else the house will end up falling, like having a really bad ending. I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
we
So
can
it'll
hope,
be.
right?
I guess we'll
Yeah.
see.
We'll
Again,
see.
this is
We'll
not a
see.
guarantee, but it is looking like it's the most likely option at this time. So we'll see how that goes.
So our last piece of Hollywood construction updates is not as big but still interesting. Is that the Mummy Q's house facade is once again growing a lot. It's very big now. We're soon going to see it start really taking shape, and hopefully soon we'll have a good idea on what exactly it is. It looks like, as we talked about the last episode, it looks like the facade is sort of like reaching out from the front of the maze itself. So maybe we'll get either an extra room, some people are speculating that, or just like something like the Legends Collide facade, where the facade really extends out from the front of the maze, and you had like the dock where you walked onto before the maze actually started. So
Mhm.
hopefully we'll see some more construction on that later. I'm sure maybe by the next episode or even the one after,
Yeah,
we'll really start seeing what that is.
yeah. It's a little too early to even say what's going on. So, but it's nice to see progress because that means, like you said, soon we'll be able to talk about it and what we think it could be.
Exactly. But we can say what it's not. John Murdy actually went on Twitter and said this Mummy Q location is not Chucky. So I know we just talked about where we think Chucky is, being that Curious George tent. But if we had any other guesses, the Mummy Q is now not one of them.
Mark it off your list, Mike. I know you have
Yeah,
it.
my bingo card.
Just like, damn it, I thought it was in the
Damn
Mummy
it.
Q.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we ready for the John Murdy segment?
No,
Let's.
Murdy watch.
no. I want to go back to the days where Mike Aiello did the same thing. Bring it back.
Was it the same?
It was pretty similar. I mean, Aiello was more teasing directly. Murdy kind of goes from being super transparent to trolling at times. So
Yeah.
similar, but definitely murdified.
Yeah, you have to
Mortified.
take a lot of what Murdy says with a grain of salt.
Yes,
I would
but
say.
also sometimes he tells you exactly what they're doing, but you don't
Yeah.
know because you got to take it with a
Yeah,
grain of
he's like,
salt.
this won't be Chucky. I'm like, oh, okay. Straight up.
And little do we know it's going to be Chucky because Murdy.
Yeah.
No,
It's
it's
true,
not
mate.
Chucky. Anyways, yes, go ahead, John Murdy section, please.
John Murdy section. And for people who do not know, John Murdy is the head of HHN Hollywood. He's the creative guy who runs, who helps make all the houses and whatnot, and
Helps,
he makes all the
just
houses.
helps.
He makes the. He's a part. There's other
He's
people that help.
Halloween.
Oh my god. So
Murdy Lord. Ooh, we need to make a shirt with John Murdy coming out of a pumpkin.
Jesus Christ. Here's the first tweet that he said on Twitter. Basically, he said, "I just had my wife do a temp read for some narration I wrote for a house at HHN, and not because she's gonna voice the part. My daughter Izzy is in Poltergeist, is the only other one in my family to do voiceovers for HHN, but it's because she speaks the language and knows the pronunciation."
Mm. And according to many people who seem to have caught on to this before, that they've brought up that she speaks French.
Hmm.
Oh.
There happens to be a rumored house that literally has Paris in the name.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So maybe that's the one we're getting.
I mean,
Or she speaks like 5 languages and this could be
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah, she
Or
speaks
she doesn't speak French and people are wrong. I don't know.
she speaks Gaelic or something. Who knows?
there were a lot of guesses about what exactly this narration could be for. Some people were guessing the rumored La Lechuza house in the Parisian courtyard. It's rumored and everything like that. But yeah, Paris was Universal Monsters. Paris in some way was another big guess for a lot of people. And if that is true, and if this does end up being Universal Monsters Paris, that means it will have some narration, which I think is very interesting. I think that can work really well for that type of house.
I mean, yeah, it would make a lot of sense. I especially if it's kind of just going through Paris, and you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing the creatures along the way. It sounds like a narration's kind of the best way to handle that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And now let's move on to the next little tweet that he said. And basically, he's worked on the RIP tour experience. Duff, do you want to talk about a little bit about for people who might not know what exactly that is?
Yeah, the RIP tour. If you're listening to this, you probably know what it is. I mean, it's you pay a lot of money. You get to basically backdoor the houses. However, in Hollywood, that is a completely separate queue that does it. Same effect. You walk right up and get in. You get some free food. You get additional experiences. Yeah.
But in addition to that stuff, like there's like in terms of the additional experiences, I know like for RIP tours they have like I know for Nope in instance the Nope tram tour, if you did the RIP they had like a special experience for
Yeah,
just you
they,
guys,
they
right?
walked you basically into a fenced off area where you got to experience a very personal time with the tethered, but it wasn't like a meet and greet. It was like a fully different scene. Like they did a whole scene with like 10 scare actors just for your small RIP tour group.
Which is like incredible. Like
Mm.
when we go to Hollywood this year, and I'm sure we're gonna do the RIP tour experience again. Uh, I can't wait to like experience one of those because that sounds like insane.
And they always do like a character photo op where it's a mannequin. Ah, he's real. So it could be something along those lines too.
It could, but in regards to what he was saying about he's working on the RIP experience, I assume he's talking more like about that special thing that the RIP tour does, like the Nope special experience that you guys had.
Mhm.
Basically, someone asked, "Hey, is this in reference to this tweet? Is this original or IP?" And he responded with, "I guess you could say both." So
Which I think John Murdy would probably say about last year's as well, because you're taking IPs, mashing them together, and making an original little concept out of them. So I'd
that's
imagine
true.
those would be his exact words for what last year was too.
That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
And you'll get to experience it this year.
I will. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for California. It's hard for me to hold in my excitement. Like every day I'm waking up and I'm like, wait, like we're gonna do this in California, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do. Oh my god, it's not gonna stop till I actually go now.
Boogie
I've
Boogie
gotten
Bash,
getting
baby.
yes. Oh, we got to get on that. But the next little tweet he said here is basically someone asked him. This was a funny one. Someone said, "Hey, why haven't there been any announcements yet?" And he just responded, with a simple answer: "Chucky killed everyone in marketing." So,
Ooh.
sorry guys, if you've been waiting for announcements like we have, Chucky caused some delays, unfortunately.
What if this is him being honest and like, he didn't physically kill them obviously, but like I don't know, they all got fired because of it. Some shit.
Someone's
Budget
like,
cuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like this is just his
"Who
way of
announced
saying like,
Chucky
yeah,
on the 31st?"
Chucky actually fucked up the marketing team.
Who was the idiot who announced Chucky on Halloween? Yeah, no one said you could do that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
So everyone got fired. So they're just replenishing the team. So it's gonna take some time.
Exactly. That's the true story. You heard it from us. That it's 100% true.
Yes, you heard it from us. Thanks for joining us on the RIP tour.
um, Another slightly funny one is someone asked, someone basically said to him, "Hey, it would be awesome to flip the script with the Halloween 3 house featuring a Michael cameo," and he responded, sounds like something I thought about once upon a time."
Well, that's the most open he's been about that because I know previously he's fully downplayed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Come on, John. You know we know. Just we know. You
Wasn't there
fucking
like
had the silver shamrock in our face.
yeah,
You can't hide it.
they had it all like on the side of the building.
Yes, it was like it was there. It was there.
And everyone saw 2020's house slowly get the facade slowly change into Halloween 4, and everyone had like a collective just like groan, like, ugh.
I remember that.
Pain. Oh, pain.
So yeah, I'm sure in future years he's gonna get. I'm sure the more time goes by, one day Murdy's just gonna be like, "Yeah, we did Halloween 3, and it didn't happen.
It's like, yes,
Sorry."
I have built the house before. It is a thing that happened.
He has
You
a home
didn't see
video
it.
of it.
He's like, I didn't see it either because I couldn't fly to the U.S.
The next thing someone asked is, "Hey, will the zones for Hollywood this year be original or IP based?" And he responded, "I'll just tell you because why? I'll just tell you because why the hell not? Um, all original. Some end in Z because I love
Yeah.
because I love to taunt people who hate that. Of course, it depends on your definition of a scare zone, but that's the straight up truth, or is it?"
Okay.
I'm sure he added that last bit because technically the demon, the mentor, no, the what are they called? Death Eaters. Uh, yeah, they're technically a scare. There are kind of a scare zone, kind of, sort of, not really, a little bit.
Okay,
I think
but
he described them last year as like like an experience, right?
yeah, I mean that's the best. I mean, I could see how you could call them a scare zone on a map or something,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, more of an experience. By the way, I unironically enjoy that they do the Z thing. I think it's a fun gimmick, just a nice little joke they keep doing. But when we get in another X under our belt, huh? Huh, John? We didn't get enough X's in our toxic tunnel.
Did they get rid of the toxic tunnel?
Yeah, they did. Because we don't go down there anymore.
Yeah, you don't need
But
it
we need
anymore.
to find a way to continue the tradition of just adding an X to something every year. I want it eventually in like 10 years to have 15 X's on something. And I want it on the park map to take up like 3 lines.
It needs to be the opening zone. So every year, just like have an opening zone with an X in it, and then it just keeps growing, and then soon people they open the park map, like, what's the first thing I'm going to see? Like, what is this? Did someone make a typo? What's happening?
The toxic terror tram.
Oh
Ooh.
god. I would hate that, but also kind of like it at the same time.
Oh, if they did a toxic tunnel themed Terror Tram one year, I'd lose my shit. That would be amazing. It'd probably not be good, but it'd be amazing.
It would not. It would not.
We're giving Murdy ideas.
You're welcome. Bring me on board,
That's
Mania. I'll help with the toxic 666 Terror Tram.
That's our version of HHN Hollywood lore. Like, it's the toxic tunnel, where Orlando has legendary truth, the icons.
We talked about how many X's you can add.
Yeah.
To a
Back
name.
in my day, we had 4 X's.
Okay, so we are about to enter a section of this John Murdy area where I'd like to call John Murdy Gives No Shits. And here we go. Basically,
favorite John Murdy.
Basically, here we go. He made the comment a while ago. We talked about of him saying, "Hey, we're not really going to continue construction on the Curious George tent facade right now until it gets announced." And then someone said, "Hey, I'm sure the HHN, people will we'll figure it out somehow." And he responded, "You're giving people a lot of credit. They think it's Demon Slayer." and we're not done. Basically, the person responded back like, "Hey, this is sort of reliable, this and that." And he responded back, "That's reliable? My 10-year-old watches the show religiously. I told her it was a rumor and she laughed and said, 'No, I don't think that's scary enough.' And she's 10." And we're not even
Get to
done.
the good one. Oh, I know. Come on. Bring it.
Here we go.
I want to hear you say it. Let's do it.
So basically, someone said, "Hey, well, I heard Demon Slayer was a code name." And he said, "Well, I'm not aware that was a code name." And then they responded back, the other users, like, "Hey, I believe that it's only Orlando's name for the shared IP." And then Murdy literally responds, "And I believe you are wrong."
Bow down to Lord Murdy. He bought a plot of land in Scotland. He's now Lord Murdy.
My favorite part of this interaction is someone says, "You let your 10-year-old watch his Demon Slayer?" And he's
They did say that too.
He's like, "Oh, well, she's very mature for her age." basically saying like, I don't know what she's watching. I didn't know. He's like, someone says like the show opens up with a bunch of like 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 murdered toddlers. He's like, oh, I didn't realize that was in that. Well, she's very mature. She can handle murdered toddlers.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So what?
I'm gonna like print out. You've seen Ted Lasso? Everyone here's seen Ted Lasso. You all have. You've all watched it. Everyone in the world's watched it. I don't think Jonathan actually has. I'm sorry,
I
Jonathan.
have not. I've my dad has started to watch it, and I'm like, cool.
You know the believe sign? You don't know it. The believe sign? I'm going to make a believe sign, but it's going to say, and I believe you are wrong. And I'm going to tap it every day as I walk
I
out of my
believe that
bedroom.
you are wrong.
So about that Demon Slayer rumor, huh?
Yeah.
I think it's safe.
It's about where we've always thought it was. So,
and now John Murdy's literally saying I mean, he's not saying it's not happening. He's just saying it's not happening in a different way.
His 10-year-old has said it's not scary enough. So
that's true.
and
I think somebody
10.
Somebody responded, "Do you and you think this is scary enough?" And they showed Ghostbusters, and he was just like, "Yeah." Oh my god! So I will not like for anyone still thinking about Demon Slayer. I hope this has helped you change your mind. This little Murdy section here.
And if not, I hope you argue with John Murdy because I love when he gets spicy.
this was great. I haven't like John Murdy really went off, and I was loving it. It was a great time.
I love how he responds to almost everyone. Where most people will if someone trolls them, they just like ignore it. Like John Murdy will just will be like, and I believe you're wrong. He has to get in the last word. It's great.
And you can't argue with him. He literally makes the event. There's no arguing with the man. Okay, let's get on to the last piece of actual news before I do something a little. He did another fun game, so we're gonna do this the actual piece of news first. And basically, Murdy made a tweet saying, "Hey, we're finalizing all of the custom created artwork created by our own Lucas Colshaw for HHN Hollywood right now, featured in 3 different houses. One house has 4 pieces, one has 11 pieces." And one I lost track of how many, but it's a lot. Beautiful work in the most horrifying way. And I mean, I would assume one of these is for holidays, I think, because I think holidays had like a lot of artwork.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
And the other ones, I'm not so sure where it would exactly fit. But
Demon Slayer.
You're actually the one you lost track of was Demon Slayer.
That's the one.
So, yeah, that's the last piece of actual news here. And now for fun, and I even tweeted about it because it was really funny. Basically, Murdy put on a playlist of 606 random songs on shuffle, and he was gonna name the first 10 songs that came up and said, using the powers of synchronicity to will us a hint for HHN 2023. Obviously, just like a joke. None of these songs were actually lined up and curated for HHN whatsoever. But the first one, like track number 1 that he pulled out, was a song called This Woman's Work by Kate Bush. And I know it didn't mean anything because it's a random shuffled songs from 606 songs that have nothing to do with HHN. But the fact that it was Kate Bush when we have a very heavy rumor of Stranger Things right now, I thought was like really funny.
He's just lucky it wasn't running up that hill because
the
meltdown on Twitter.
Right?
Like he made a tweet after saying, why are these people speculating? I literally said none of these, like, these are all random songs from a random playlist. But if the first thing was Running Up That Hill, everyone would be like, nah, John Murdy, I don't believe you. I don't.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like serious. The odds that out of all these songs, a Kate Bush song was the first thing is incredible. It's absolutely insane.
What a
Yeah,
coincidence.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Because like, no offense to Kate Bush at all, she's great. How many people just have like a bunch of Kate Bush on their playlists?
John Murdy,
Exactly.
apparently.
So yeah, that's our last little funny Murdy thing.
Murdy, you have brought so much entertainment to this episode that otherwise would not have been entertaining.
All
Thank
right.
you. I love you. Never change. Well, maybe
It,
some things, but personality wise, never change.
exactly. Our next little segment here is from the Insider Legacy, who we've talked about many times on the podcast before. Legacy has talked about things in Horror Nights and, basically, uh, just leaked things in the past, blah, blah, blah. And now we're going to talk about what he said now. And the first thing he said was that Stranger Things was supposed to be announced this month, which at the time he posted that was May. It was supposed to be announced in May, but is going to be pushed till June. So maybe there's a chance that Stranger Things is, in fact, our first announcement. Possibly, maybe.
Sure.
That sounds about right. Like, they
I
usually
mean,
do a really big IP, like a really big one.
Chucky. No,
Yeah.
technically was the first.
It was the first. They usually something a little bit bigger than that, though. Like
I mean, yeah, it would make sense.
better The Last of Us. I think both of those are both big enough to be like the first, well, technically second announcement. Like that would be like the big one to lead into the announcement season. They're both big enough. They could be either one.
They're just going to announce food before they even get to our
Yeah,
house.
they're gonna announce The Exorcist.
Oh god.
Hilarious. All right, next, please.
Oh yep, that's the perfect transition. Next one. Universal did pursue the property Scream for this year, according to Legacy, but negotiations couldn't get off the ground. I'm sure. I have a feeling they pursue Scream every year, and
Come
every
on.
year it's
When,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
What
he
year are
could
they
say
just
that.
like, yeah, we don't want it?
Right.
that's when Scream comes to them like, no, we here we go. Oh, we'll give you it. Fine, just love us, please. I don't think I hope there's a time in the future we get Scream, but right now it like until the movies like start performing poorly, I don't think we're ever gonna touch it.
No.
Yeah, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, they don't need Universal.
Now here comes a really really spicy Legacy thing that he said. Basically, he believes that the Japanese creatures rumor that we saw on the first speculation map, just something Japanese creature has been rumored for a bit, stemmed from something else not related to Halloween Horror Nights. And he basically said that something Japanese slash anime might end up being at Universal, but not as Halloween Horror Nights, as something else.
Okay.
I mean, you said spicy, and after the John Murdy spice, that was kind of
Okay,
like a Taco Bell mild sauce.
that's. I don't think anything in any other future episode that we ever have will equate to that John Murdy
I mean, I
spice
hope
right there.
something. I mean, we're on this episode. We can get spicy.
That's
Well, some of us
that's
can
true.
get spicy.
That's true.
Jonathan, kick up your spice level.
I'm. I don't know. It's 11. I don't have much of a spice level right now.
Yeah, no.
We'll work on it.
But I mean, I'd say this rumor is really interesting, right? Because first of all, something obviously, like people obviously saw something regarding something Japanese, which we'll talk about a little bit later. about that specifically. So that's how that rumor like spawned into the atmosphere. So what could it actually be for if it's not for HHN?
Uh, any anything
That is true. It could
for
be literally for
just
anything.
for the parks, for a special event, for a escape room. I don't like
Do you think we would
literally
get
anything.
like
A
these anime
restaurant, city walk.
overlays over? Do you think we would get like the anime overlays they get
Have get in
at
Japan. It's, I
Japan
mean, also
sometimes?
possible. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things it could be.
I mean, it does make sense why something Japanese has been on like people's minds for a while, though. If
Hmm. And
it's something
they sell Demon Slayer
actually,
merch in the park already.
mm-hmm.
Mm.
So I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see this blow up later, and we'll try to figure out, what exactly this means. Which we're actually going to talk about right now, because we're going to go to the Horror Night Nightmares section where Mark has had some things about this year's event. And regarding Demon Slayer, that rumor, he basically said, for those thinking Demon Slayer was a code name, it wasn't, which we have previously talked about before on the podcast. Uh, Mark went back to say we had props and others set for it, even if it was going to be for a Japanese original. To my knowledge, to Nark's knowledge, I'm still quoting, and I could be wrong. If they couldn't pull off Demon Slayer for whatever reason, it was going to convert to a Japanese original, but that may be completely off the table now. So, I mean, it seems like this rumor all stemmed from props of some sort, like Mark
Hmm.
said. Uh,
But
probably,
two very different lines of thinking
Yeah,
from Legacy,
yeah.
those
HN,
almost
and Mania.
contradict each other.
Fully
Those,
contradict each other.
yeah.
So interesting.
Like I haven't watched Demon Slayer, so I don't know. But could you like? First of all, I think John Murdy is like specifically said like no, like Demon Slayer was like was not a thing, So I don't
Hmm.
I don't think Demon Slayer was. Honestly, that's why I'm gonna like. I don't think it was a thing at all. Like if John
It
Murdy's talking that
sounds
way,
more
like
likely it stems from something not HHN related, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
and so maybe whatever props like Mark said people saw or heard of, maybe it was just all for that other event or other
Yeah.
thing, whatever the Japanese thing might be.
There's all sorts of things they really could do. Anime has blown up so much that they could do anime Fridays. You know what I mean? They could do
They
they could
could.
do the anime summer where they put anime just shops here or there. They could do an anime tribute store. Like
Mhm.
there's so many things that they could have like people have saw for props wise. They could have they could do an overlay to the building of Poseidon's Fury and make it just some sort of anime walkthrough thing that's just a limited time thing. There's all sorts of things that they could do.
And on the
Um,
very unlikely end, but to show you like how many different things it could be, they could have been filming a commercial for something unrelated to Universal on Universal property.
yeah,
Yep, that's
yeah.
also true.
It's sets. Yeah, those are. It's a working film sets. They could be all sorts of things that someone accidentally saw.
I don't think that's what it is, but that is in the realm of possibility at Universal Studios.
Absolutely. So yeah, we had a lot more Demon Slayer talk than I expected us to ever have after
Yes, we can
that was
stop
first
now. We're done. Drop it. Goodbye.
after
Dust.
Legacy first talked about it.
Wipe my hands clean.
There you go.
We can go
There's
on
no
for
more
10
talking
more
about.
minutes.
I will mute you.
Yeah, we got like 10 more bullet points of Numpkin. So our next piece of Horror Night Nightmares news that Mark said, or talk was basically Mark said, I believe we still have Exorcist. Which version is a different story?
Either way, boo.
Yeah.
I mean,
This
there was
one I feel like I'm more in line with his thinking. Like I could see this happening. This feels true. This feels a lot less true than Demon Slayer was happening and they just couldn't pull it off. This feels more true.
Yeah, and I mean, when he just talks about which version, either version I don't want, but I would prefer at least Believer because it's, you know, new at least. I haven't seen the movie, no one has, but at least it's a new thing. The original would be I think, like a million times worse just because they already did it. So what else do you do? Like what else do you do to make that house different from the last one?
Yeah, maybe we get a. It's the first time in a long time we get a repeat. It's happened before. I mean, um, the American Werewolf in London 2015 house was basically the exact same thing as 2013, right? It's happened. It hasn't happened often, but it has happened where we just get repeats, especially on IPs on our coast.
And
Yeah.
what is funny,
Pass.
and the last thing I want to talk about this is that the rumored location for Exorcist, I think it was according to spec map, uh, was I think if I'm remembering correctly, Exorcist was in the same soundstage it was when it was originally in Orlando. And for Hollywood spec map, it was in the Mummy Queue, which was also where it was originally in Hollywood. So I don't know. I don't know. What that means.
Now, The Exorcist was not a beloved house like American Werewolf in London was, right? And I think the main difference is that they upgrade like the puppets from 2015 to 2013, like that was the main difference between those two houses, is that they worked really hard on the werewolf puppets to make them like better.
Yeah, I think that was the main difference from that house. I don't think anything else was really changed for it. I think it was just the puppets itself. So I mean, like at least American Werewolf had the puppets to change. What do you do for Exorcist? Like, do you just upgrade some of the effects? Because the whole movie takes place like almost in one room. There's not much room to get creative with it. Like, I don't know what other angle you can take. And I know Believer's really doing bad right now in press screenings too. So I don't know. I'm worried for either or. But I'm like, the fact that Mark said which version is a different story when originally Believer was on the map lends me to think that he might be thinking it's the original, that
Yeah.
he's saying which version is, like, I mean, even a question right now.
Well, yeah, there's rumors that Believer is just being pushed. Like it's like that they're recutting the film. So I don't. I mean, it was already a tight squeeze. That and if it's getting pushed till like next year, if 2024, there's no way that we're getting Believer. And I feel like we would have a date. Like at this point, that we would have a date for Believer, and we don't officially, or do we?
No, there's an
Do
official date.
there's
It's
an official date, but we don't have a
October
trailer. We don't have a
23rd,
trailer,
something like that.
right?
No, we do not. There was a leaked. I don't even think it fully leaked. There was a trailer shown at like a festival or some sort of private screening of it, and then the test screenings have gone terrible beyond
Yeah,
that. So like
and so there's rumors, yeah, that
the like general public have seen nothing. We've only
they're
heard.
reshooting
Yeah.
and recutting the film. So there's a good chance that Believer is not happening.
Oh God.
Well, is there anything positive beyond that from HHN, please?
Let's see. The next thing, Mark says that he stands by the version 2 maps other than Demon Slayer, and the locations. So, but there's Demon Slayer again. No Demon Slayer once again from a bunch of different sources. The next thing is that the zones are looking interesting theme wise. That's all he really said. So there's not really much to speculate on that except they might be interesting themes. And the
Ooh.
last thing here is someone asked, "Hey, is The Last of Us still getting a scare zone since that was rumored on the last speculation map?" And he gave a thumbs up. So that so far is sticking in the rumor mill.
Last of Us would fall under interesting. So
It definitely
okay.
would.
All right. Did we have anything else for the news and rumors, or the
Yes.
rumors part of the
Oh,
the news and
rumors?
rumors? Should I
No,
say?
no rumors anymore. We just have news from some other haunts that aren't Halloween Horror Nights.
Ooh.
And the first bit is we have some Not Scary Farm news. Yes.
Yes.
Um, and this is big news for fans of Not Scary Farm, especially people who live in California, and that the Not Scary Farm season pass that has uh, been gone for a long time. The season pass add-on is now available for only $149 for current Knott's Berry Farm season pass holders, and for non-season pass holders, they'll be able to purchase the season passes for $159 on
Hmm.
Friday, June 9th at 10 a.m., but the quantities are limited.
What a fucking steal!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
that's amazing.
Think about it. We pay like those of us who do like 100, 120, whatever it is for Hollow Scream Orlando. $39 more dollars, or even $50 more for Not Scary Farm. Ugh.
it is like one of the best deals I've ever seen for like that quality of event. I'm sure this year they're gonna get a ton of more houses too, since it's gonna be an anniversary year.
Hmm.
Um, like uh, like I mean that Knott's has something that a lot of other events don't, and where it has a plethora of shows and entertainment that you could just go one day and just watch like a ton of the shows, and not even do any houses, and then come back another day and do the houses, and another
Mhm.
day and do the scare zones. Like there's so much to do with that season pass.
Extremely interactive scare zones.
That you want to spend time in, and you can spend like hours there, on different days and get different experiences every time you go through.
I'm so jealous.
I'm so
I wish it
excited
was
to
here.
see Knott's.
Oh, you're gonna fucking fall in love
Uh,
immediately.
I know. I'm imagine. I can't wait.
I didn't go yet last year, so seeing it again this year is going to be really, really exciting. And I really do hope the season passes stay. I know they were gone for a while, and a lot of people were very upset because, I mean, I would be too. Looking at this right now, it's like I want to live in California and get this season pass so I can go to Knott's every day. Um, but hopefully these stay for the rest of time and don't go away anymore, because this sounds great.
Yeah. Congrats, all you locals. Enjoy.
And we got one more piece of news for another haunt, and that is Hollow Scream Orlando. There's not much to this besides uh, the sirens, aka the icons of Halloween Horror Nights. Not Halloween Horror Nights. Oh my god, I'm in a different mindset of Hollow Scream Orlando, which are the sirens. Frost and Flame will return to this year's event. Uh, they haven't said if any other sirens are going to be returning, so I'm not sure if we're going to get more of those. But from my understanding, the way they did it last year, I feel like these two are going to be the main sirens of this year, like the main icons.
So, are they returning?
Yeah,
Okay.
sirens. Frost and Flame were. Are you talking about like have they been there
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Yeah, Frost was, and I just talked to my friend about this, so I could be wrong info. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure Frost was beneath the ice.
Okay. Makes
That siren,
sense.
and then Flame didn't have a house, but Flame was in the main
But
group
did
of
exist.
sirens.
Okay. Got it. Sorry, House Scream Orlando, for not being super up on the lore, but cool. I enjoyed the whole siren thing. It makes a lot of sense at the park. And sorry you caught a stray while we were talking about Scary Farm.
Now, what's interesting though is that I think last year they all. I do not quote me, but I think last year there were two sirens again, like up as the main icons. I
Yes.
think
Screech. Was that
Scratch and someone
Scratch?
else, right?
Scratch
Or was
and
it just Scratch?
Scratch and Scream, Scratch.
One of
Scratch. There was Scratch.
one of those two, I'm pretty sure had a house previously, but Scratch, which was the new, didn't, and so they gave her a new house.
Mm.
So maybe it's gonna be the same type of situation where Frost beneath the ice might stay because Frost beneath the ice, that's the Frost house,
Hmm.
but then Flame, the new house, like might be based around that siren.
That would be cool. I like that.
I like the idea of Flame. Maybe, something, sort of hellish, like very,
Mm.
like sort of that sort of theme, would be really cool to see how they implement that into the event.
Yeah, I'd be all for it.
That would be cool.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get more information on this event later. But right now, two icons, it's not bad information to have.
No.
And that's the last of the news and rumors. But we technically do have one other thing that we did experience at Universal Orlando that isn't completely related to Halloween Horror Nights, but it also is because it will likely affect this year's event in some way. And that is the Jurassic Park 30th anniversary tribute store.
Yeah. And rather than fully breaking it down, Jonathan, why don't we just say how you kind of felt about it, and then we'll get to the potential HHN relation. And
Yeah, but I mean, I do like Jurassic Park, but I know like you like it a lot more to me.
I do.
You're like a massive fan of the franchise. Do you want to go first
Yeah,
and
sure.
say,
So, I
yeah?
mean, this is kind of like something I've wanted to see my entire life. It kind of gives you a bit of everything. It gives you like the behind the scenes aspect that they pitch to you. It also kind of immerses you in the films and specifically a few scenes, the kitchen scene, Gennaro
Oh
getting
man.
eaten on the toilet scene. Um, it just gives you everything you could want. The merch is great. Jonathan watched me blow a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I did.
And I'm gonna go spend more. Yeah, they really knocked it out of the park. I think the only issue is still that location leaves a bit to be desired because even when the store is not busy, it feels busy because
Oh yeah.
there's one room that's basically just like three separate photo ops, and it creates what people think is a massive line going into the first room. So instead of walking into the next room, I see people look at the line and turn around and walk out the front door because they think the line is to get into the next room when it's really just for people to take photos. And people start waiting in the line to get into the next room, thinking they have to. So it's that space, man. It's just imagine a busy HHN tribute store. It's gonna be a fucking mess.
Oh, I have incredibly similar thoughts as you. I think the after seeing the Mardi Gras tribute store, this past one in that location, I was really afraid because I really didn't like the way that one was set up. I didn't think the theming was on par as the other Mardi Gras tribute stores, which um, I think the one from 2021 is still my favorite tribute store of all time. It was just so immersive. So I was kind of afraid, like, oh no, this location isn't really going to work for theming. And I mean, this store proved me wrong. They can theme it incredibly well. They actually, in the first room especially, they took every inch of space and filled it with Easter eggs and props and facts about the movie and behind the scenes stuff. Like that whole first room not only did have a lot of space, but had a lot of detail and lots of theming from on your level to up top where you saw like the costuming department,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to see all the characters costumes and stuff like that. So like the theming is top notch. The photo ops beautiful, like they looked beautiful. Every room had the great pictures to take, and the merch is great. The problem becomes, like Duff said, that the flow of the store is absolutely horrendous, it's really bad. Like, it's awful because of that second room, because of the photo ops. And to be honest, even if they're not there, even if for the Halloween Horror Nights tribute store, if it ends up being in this location, which I'm guessing it likely will, even if it doesn't have those huge photo ops and whatnot, the crowds that come for HHN to go to these the HHN crowd to go to tribute stores is insane, absolutely insane, especially opening, like during the event it gets real like bad, like during the actual event, towards the end of the event where everything goes on sale, like the lines go way out the door.
Hmm.
And this location does not have enough space for
Oh,
people.
you're gonna be all the way down Hollywood Boulevard,
It's gonna
like,
be,
and
yeah.
then rapping a few times probably.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be absolutely awful, and I don't know what they can do uh, to think of a solution for this. It's gonna go into the scare zone. It's gonna go every, like, the line
Hmm.
is just gonna go out the door. You're not gonna be able to buy things because I've walked into that Jurassic World tribute store and I've like seen things, and I've part of me is like, oh, I might get something, but sometimes I walk in and it's like it's too crowded. I'm like, nope, and I turn right around.
Yeah,
Like,
and the thing is, like we went the one day we like really went to go look at it together. Um, it very light crowd, I'd say, but still felt packed.
mm-hmm.
Um, and that was maybe like a quarter of what your average like slow HHN night in the tribute store would be.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
So it's oh man, I don't.
So
It's not going to work well operationally. But Jonathan,
yeah.
we've talked about this. It's not changed since Mardi Gras. In fact, we've only seen it just looks worse now. Uh,
Mm.
but the more fun thing, where's the potential HHN tie-in?
Oh, yes, I almost forgot about this. Thank you for reminding me. The last room of the store by the cash registers has a lot of fun Jurassic Park memorabilia, old toys and pamphlets and just lots of Jurassic Park goodies in there that from when the movie was released. I'm sure somebody just had like a shit ton of like Jurassic Park stuff in the back that they collected. Like, ooh, I can throw it in the tribute store and it looks beautiful. But on the right, the last window, I'm sure you see at the bottom, there's like a little uh, piece of paper. I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically had a couple numbers on it. And the numbers actually were just the opening day of HHN. It was the date of the opening day of HHN. And it's like, ooh, that's interesting. And I know a lot of people have I've seen people on Twitter and whatever go like, "Oh, does this mean Jurassic Park HHN house?" And no, that does not mean that. It does not mean Jurassic Park HHN house. But what it could mean is something like they did in the summer tribute store from last year that was movie themed, in which they had a section for HHN with Slaughter Cinema posters, and they basically put hints for that scare zone in the New York location, which was where the tribute store was at the time, and they kept adding hints every couple of weeks, and people kept looking at the hints and trying to figure out what it meant, and it kept growing and growing and growing until it ended up revealing or giving extensive backstory to the Sweet Revenge scare zone in that
Hmm.
same area. So maybe we get something similar in this Jurassic Park store, whether it be the Hollywood scare zone that it's close to, that the tribute store is in, basically, or uh, potential characters that might appear, or theme, or whatever. I like, my assumption is that it's going to give a hint towards something for HHN that is not Jurassic Park related at all.
Yeah, I'd say that's most likely, but definitely something that we can keep an eye on. And it's always fun when HHN just kind of dabbled in.
I thought them doing that last year in the tribute store was one of the
Oh,
one of the
it was a
best
great touch.
things.
It kept the tribute store fresh for people who visit a lot. Um, there was no negative to that whatsoever. So hopefully they do it to the same level, if not more, this time.
I'm sure Universal's like rubbing their hands together like, we're gonna get these HHN fans back into this tribute store and they're gonna end up
I'm spending
spending
money.
more money because they want to see a hint.
They're gonna have to walk by that treat stand every time. Every time.
Exactly.
You want a dino turd brownie?
You want a shirtless Ian Malcolm brownie?
Yeah, everyone does, of course.
They do sell those. I don't know if we saw that last time, but they do
Yeah, no,
sell those.
yeah, I've seen pictures. They did not have them when we were there, unfortunately, but I have seen the pictures.
I
They're
have to check the
amazing.
store out.
Oh yeah, you'll enjoy
need to
it.
get
You'll
that.
definitely enjoy it. All right, well, we are not done yet. There is one last thing to go through, and that is, of course, voicemails, which we have a couple of. So if you guys are ready, I'm gonna kick that off right about now.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, Mystery Caller here. I was just wondering, do you think there will be a Tooth Fairy sequel house? I'm just ready for a new monologue. Thanks, bye.
Hi, mystery caller, mystery caller. No, there might be more like the whole like bedtime, dead time story thing, kind of sequels, but Tooth Fairy, no.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, I don't think there'll be another Tooth Fairy, but yeah, I think other bedtime story might be really cool. Honestly, I think there is potential there,
Or if you want to
but
call it like a cousin of Scary Tales, you'll probably see that again.
yeah,
There is a potential to redeem it. I will say that, to make another bedtime story thing and make it a better house.
Also, not in a COVID year.
Yeah, that would help a lot, actually, tremendously.
and yes, mystery caller, another narration would be very
Yes, hopefully not repeated by someone every day.
by said mystery caller.
All right, next one. Here we go.
Hey, HHN 365 crew, this is Kyle. I'm a relatively new listener to you guys. I came over from the catacombs, but I just wanted to bring up a couple of questions that I have for you guys. Why do you think Demon Slayer is such a no-go? There is a ride for it at Universal Studios in Japan. It's a pretty big attraction for them. I think it'd be a good draw for a lot of people. Also, do you guys plan on going down to Hollowstream in San Diego? Now that it's up and running, it's still very small, but SeaWorld San Diego is doing a Hollowstream. Thank you guys. Have a great time, and I will keep listening.
Well, Kyle, thanks for checking out the show
Yeah.
and continuing to listen and leaving us this voicemail. With that said, don't listen to any of our episodes around October. We'll get into that in a second, though. But first, Demon Slayer. We talked about that a bit today. Why are we so down on it? I think we mainly covered that. For me, it's it just it's the feel of the property and the rumor itself more for me. Sometimes you just, right or wrong, I'm not always right about them, that's for sure. But you just get like this sense about a rumor and whether you feel it's real or not, and it just doesn't feel legit in the least to me.
I think, yeah, I think I agree with that. And I think the main thing that my sticking point is that I don't know much about the property, but everyone tells me that there's a way that it could fit. And I'm willing
Except
to
John
believe
Murdy.
them on willing to believe them on that, except John Murray. John Murray's 10-year-old daughter just has very strong opinions.
You guys are
And-
fucking crazy.
that it could not fit. But I'm going to believe everybody else because I've not met John Murdy's daughter. That my main sticking point is that I just don't see the Demon Slayer people letting Universal come up with face character type um like a house that's going to have face character interpretations of these characters and make a bunch of these decisions of what these characters look like as face characters without a live action film already being or TV show already being produced. I just don't. It's never happened before. I know people have talked about, it could happen. I just don't. That's such a big thing that you're allowing this company to to interpret what the live action are going to look like of these characters. And it just seems like something you would hold close to the vest until you were gonna do a live action film.
That
That's where I stand.
that is such a more well thought out response than me going, "It's the vibes, bro."
They're
It just
both
logistically, I just don't get it. I just why would they allow them to make those
No,
artistic decisions?
it makes sense. And then I guess there is the question of, I think there is legitimacy to how do they pull it off if they don't go face character style and they just try to fully replicate that with fur. So
There's no way. That's even more ridiculous, right?
Jonathan, what do you think?
No, I mean, I completely agree with both. I mean, I agree with both of your opinions here. Not not the vibes and the practicality of it. Like Mike said, I really do think translating an animated property to a house format into live action is such a hard task. Like an incredibly hard task. Probably harder than something than things they've like ever done before. And in order to do that, I think like there needs to be a humongous push. Like Universal's like there's nothing you can do. You have to do this property because I really don't either the creatives like love the property so much that they're willing to put the time and the effort and the to do that, or Universal says you literally have no choice. This property is so big that there's nothing you have to do it. And until like Mike said, until there's anything live action or anything like I don't know. A Demon Slayer is really big. Like I know it's a humongous show and it's a really big, like really big property, but I don't think it's at the level that would Universal would like say like you have to figure out a way how to make the animated characters in real life. You have to do that extra effort. I don't think it's worth it for them yet. Like to do any animated property like that, whether it be Demon Slayer or it's never gonna happen, but Treehouse of Horror or whatever. Like until like they, until it makes enough sense to do that. If I'm making any sense at all.
Until there's another live action property that they can interpret it from, they're not going to let a HHN house be the first stab at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. And he mentions that there was the attraction overlay. I think that is just a different beast. Yeah. You can use the characters.
Exactly. It's a VR.
It's just a
overlay.
very kind of apples and oranges. You're comparing two different things. I could see that overlay coming to the parks here in some way, but I just don't. They could have maybe a little, something, a little Demon Slayer type thing at HHN. I just don't see us getting a full house.
And for what it's worth, I do like to see HHN take swings, even if it's a miss on different things. And this would be a different thing. So, I would welcome it one day. I just don't think it's going to be this year.
No, yeah.
But
I completely agree.
Your next question or point you brought up, Hellscream San Diego. So actually, Jess and I had the chance to check it out last year, which was what I was alluding to. Don't go and listen to episodes from that because it was not our favorite haunt of the year, to say the least. It just kind of fell flat in every category. The whole event theme, food and drink, most importantly, the houses, they're just none of them were good. Some of them were just bad. They had like the hidden bars that you used the code word to get inside to in a couple of the houses, which is cool. One of them actually had the best drink of the night, so that was nice. But I think it's not something that we're going to be making the drive to San Diego for until we see some big changes and big improvements, because it's Yeah, we didn't love it, unfortunately. I hope they keep continuing to do it, and I hope people enjoy it, and I hope it does improve. Just not for us.
See, I was a listener at that point. Listen to that episode. You were a lot nicer right now than you were
Oh, I know. That was the
on
point.
the
Yeah, that was
episode
the
itself.
point. That was the point. We don't have the hour we need to talk about it like I did on that episode.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we do. I just prefer not to.
Yeah, I
don't need an
I
hour
agree
of
with
that
that.
again. But
All right.
yeah, thank you for your voicemail, and hopefully you keep listening to us, even though we kind of shit on both things you brought up a little bit.
Yeah, so that basically wraps up the show, right? Do we have anything else to go over?
No, I think that's it for us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as always, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at HHN365 and TikTok at HHN365pod. We have a Discord where a lot of great stuff is happening. The link is in the description. And we have a merch shop at HHN365.com. Leave us a voicemail at 407-906-4134, and we'll play it on the show and comment on it, and we'll see you in the streets.